Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Poplars. Today I'm going to give you updates because tomorrow I am on my way to Colorado among the Watch Poplars, and a lot has changed because I have not given you updates for a while. I have been busy preparing the garden for a party that we had yesterday to celebrate my graduation, but with the time I have, I should do it right now. So here I have a moss farm. And I have these domes so that it would provide humidity, but the moss will go dormant while we're gone, and I'll maintain it when we're back home after, on the 22nd of June. But here, there's this Ipomoea liptophila from, and I don't know if this common name is accurate. This does not look like a morning glory, but, Ipomoea, we'll have to see. This could be a catalpa. I do remember planting seeds. I just don't remember planting them around the edge, but whatever. And then I have I finally got some Pacific dogwoods from Yosemite sprouting from the seeds I collected last fall. And they're really nice. I can smell the daisies. They smell like ass. Like if someone hasn't washed their ass for like a week. That's what it smells like. But, it doesn't bother me. I don't know. I'm just telling you what they smell like. Because, daisies don't always smell good. And that's to repel certain, like, herbivores, I guess. Maybe they're fly pollinated. That's most likely the case. I think they're fly pollinated, but I don't know. I don't see any pollinators right now on the daisies. But I got a few gifts yesterday during the party. One of my older friends gave me this. I don't know what it is, but it has 7 stamens and a 5 split stigma, and it looks funny. Yeah, I like it. And I'm curious, because this looks like a succulent, so I'm not gonna water it heavily during the winter. I'm gonna keep it under the big shade during the winter so that it stays dry. But during the summer, at this time, it's perfectly fine. But this, I'll have to repot it. Not because of the pot design, which is kind of crazy, but it doesn't have drainage holes. So, and this is, what is this? Okay, it's from East Africa. Zamioculcas, Zamifolia. And I read the Wikipedia page for it, and it's a herbaceous tropical member of the Araceae family. And the Araceae family is where you get those, what everyone calls lilies. They're not true lilies. They're spade-shaped, cupped flower that kind of looks like that. And then in the middle of that flower is called the spadix, and that's where the reproductive parts are. And on top is the male part, and on the bottom is the female part. The bottom part forms red berries that are eventually, they're encased in the leftover dry, papery, weird petal thing, which is most likely not a petal, because it's not, the morphology doesn't form petals. But this, I didn't know until now that it was a member of the aroid family. And that's interesting. These leaves, At the base, I can see the relation that it does look similar. But look, on the top, I mean, usually you have these big, kind of tropical looking, like, I don't know, they look kind of like that. But they're not heart-shaped, they just kind of go like that. There's also a lot of invasive members that are, well, they're not invasive where they're native to, but here, there are some taking over the creek. But this is a houseplant, and it can't really, it can't go anywhere below the winters that we have here. So, it can also, it's hardy to, 35 degrees, which is what, Zone 9 gets, 35 to 30. So they can freeze a little bit, they can get some frost. I could protect them, because in the winter we have greenhouses here. Yeah, so this will probably get fall colors and die back, or it will just get, the leaves will just get frost damage, and then it will come back in spring. I don't know, but I'll have to see. But if this is going to be taken care of by our neighbors for the next few weeks, I don't want this plant drowning. It has a big bulb, and I don't know. I'll have to pick a different pot. This can be a pot with a pot within it, but the plant can't be in here by itself. Otherwise, it will drown, because there is no drainage hole in it. So I'll have to, I'd have to do that today. So I'll start with this section. There's a red osier dogwood, Cornus cerisiae. Well, I don't need to do a recap of that, but yeah, whatever. So there's the dogwood, there's the sycamores. I won't repot this. I won't repot anything if it grows less than it did last year. The bay laurel is growing a bit weak, but I pruned off all the last year's leaves, giving it light. Yeah, so I had to finish watering the garden because Mom just, I don't know, it was just left there. Anyway, there's the tundra. It's doing very well. I should probably keep this in a tray of water. And there's one here, but I don't really have much room. And my willows, I mean, I don't know. Oh, that's fine, but the other willows here, those should be in a tray, like that, maybe even deeper. Like this is what drainage hole pots are for, water catchment, and for plants that can tolerate growing in water, like aquatic trees such as willows. So I also got a lavender, and it looks really nice. But this pot is plastic, so I'll just use it for growing plants. But this, I can't bring it to a show. I mean, if I had a ceramic pot or whatever that was like a clay pot that was like this color, I would definitely show it if it was flowering. But yeah, I'll find a pot someday for it. It would look really nice as an accent plant. There's a willow herb that I like here. The Chinese elm has finished growing. We have honeysuckle. There's a Lonicera hispidula. It's very soft. It's very, very soft. And this is invasive hemlock. And it's the carrots, well, the dead carrots in it are starting to swell. There are little carrots. I don't know if you can see, but now my hands smell like hemlock. It's very too strong. Here's the catnip. Here, oh, there's a poppy seedling. I don't know if I showed you. There's the ranunculus vine growing just wild. I'll let it grow for the whole summer. And there's a poppy. And I guess when you take care of them, they flower really late. But, you know, they flower, and I'm very excited for it to flower. And I hope it flowers, you know, by the time, like when I return home on the 22nd of July. June. But all the cuttings are doing nicely. All the seedlings are doing nice. All the purple peaches and the green peaches are doing well. The peach is the one that's grown the most since I cut it. Maybe in early May, maybe April. But the pear is doing nice. So this is where all the Rosaceae trees are. But all the weeds, I weed out most of them, but I keep the ones that are quite nice. So this is something in the mint order. Something. It has little tiny blue flowers. I have no idea what it is, but it's really cute. Very, very tiny. It's probably fly pollinated because no bee could get to that. Here I have all my legumes. There's the redbud. That's native. There's locust from the East Coast, but it's also grown as an ornamental here. And they're nice. They get nice fall colors. They're very delicate looking leaves. The leaves, when they fall off, it's like confetti. And the roadsides turn yellow. Yeah, so there's a bunch of locust seedlings in here. And I just have this growing over the soil so that maybe you can put some roots down when I'm gone into the soil. And then I haven't given updates to my sweet acacia in a while, but here they are. They're doing very nice. If these don't go very strong this year, then I will repot them. Here's my other one. It's doing very nice. And here's the Sesbania. They're starting to extend, which is nice. I think they'll I mean, I did some severe root pruning. They were all going very down, very downwards. So I had to get more radial ones by pruning it very hard. It was, yeah. So, you know, remember when I was repotting my Coel Rauteria with the golden rain trees over there? Well, I don't know how, but there are some roots left over, and they sprouted. Look at that. And, so, I probably won't keep this, but, you know, that's kind of funny. I'll just it's just a bug that jumped at my face. It bounced off. It was hurt a little bit. But, you know, there's another one that started sprouting. I don't know how. How? Well, now I know that they can grow from the roots. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I didn't repot the redwood, but you know, it's fine. You know, the redwood is fine. I've never actually repotted a redwood before, but you know, in 2026, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna repot this for the first time. But I pinched it. I think yesterday, I pinched the tip so that it would give these more strength, take the energy out of the top. Because even though this is not how big I want this to be a lot taller. I want to grow this a little bit more, and I want to keep it to size and gradually keep it in a conical shape, but grow it a bit each year. And then there's some legumes here from the Ruth Bancroft garden. I didn't repot those, but they're doing nice. A snapdragon sprouted, and we have a bunch of leftover snapdragon seedlings all over the garden from when we had snapdragon plants in the barrels, and all the other the ones we planted died because of some kind of pathogen or whatever. They all turned rusty brown and died. I don't know. But there was just these bumps on the underside of the leaves. They just were covered in them. And they left this sporous residue, or powder. So it was definitely a fungal thing. So I don't know what that was caused from, or what it was, but I have a general idea that it was probably a fungus infection. And it killed both of them. They were in separate locations. But that was unfortunate. But there's seedlings of forget-me-not just everywhere. And there's one here, there's one in the corner by the patio, and yeah, there's others around here. So and some of these still flower. Like I had one here. This one, it doesn't survive. I don't know if it's still alive. It's probably not. But there's the snapdragon, and that one just acted like an annual. It sprouted, it sent up a big stalk and flowered, and then later on in that year, last year, it sent up a big stalk, so a bunch of sprouts out of the base. You have more native Phacelia. If you touch this, if you fumble around with it, you'll get some sting. And oh, there's a big beetle right there. There's these lilies. These are true lilies. This is what lilies are like. And here, there's my alder. It's starting to drop its leaves. There's old leaves. They're kind of weak from, the growth, all the energy. They're also good. I mean, maybe they're being shaded out a little bit, but it's fine. The tree's very healthy. And yeah, I have to reduce the leaf size. I cut them so that it doesn't shade out more. I'm letting the bottom ones grow so that the top stays thinner than the branches further down, because that's what trees are like in nature. I also have this under a tray of water because it's very thirsty, and I need to refill this container that it's in, because it's going down. And probably it would be better if I have this in a deeper, larger container that would actually hold this tree better instead of just the very bottom. But as long as it's watered every day, that it will also always be in the water. And these are not aspens, because aspens do not have those leaves. They're coming out like this. They're slightly different. This one comes out like that, and this one comes out like this. And then it's a trending leaf shape. Yeah, this is most definitely white poplar, but these had no name tag on them when I got them for Christmas. But now there's a bunch of cattails growing in here. Look at that. There's cattails. And how I know is because a bunch of fluff fell in here and I couldn't get it out. But it's fine. They probably won't grow very large in here. Yeah, but all the poplar cuttings aside, well, this, maybe it's rooted, but it's not growing any buds because, they pruned off. It was harvested and pruned off all the possible areas they can sprout. Unless it sprouts out of the base where it was cut, which I don't think it will. So, it's still firm, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't see any roots yet coming out, but someday it will happen. And in here, there's a nice willow herb flowering. It's native, a weedy native, so that's nice. Yeah, very lovely leaves. I really like them. So someday these will start to quiver. It takes a little bit more time for these to quiver than the cottonwoods, which if I blow on them, they definitely do it. But you also notice that these have started quivering. So it's a good sign. It means the leaves are starting to mature and get to size. Yeah, and the cottonwood's doing very nice. Well, so while the tip still grows, these other shoots have stopped growing. But I need the energy. I need energy to grow into these lower ones. So I could prune this off. And I think that's a valid decision. I think that's a very valid decision. I think it would give more energy. It would disperse the energy to these shoots. And I should probably do that before I go, so that when I come back, I see some change. But, you know, I have to get my scissors. And I don't have them right now. But here, I have both of my red oaks. And here, this red oak, the newer one, is beginning to grow again. It's growing again, and I'm very excited. So when I return home, there will be some new growth sticking out of these leaves. And here, there is nothing happening because they're very weak. These branches are only got one leaf on them. So I will not repot these until they grow more. And they're probably even weaker than they were last year. So, you know, they're probably just hanging by a thread. I mean, they look fine, but they're very weak right now. This should be green, and it should be green, and it should be that tall by now. Look, they should be extending if they were healthy, but they're not. These, I did some root pruning on them, but I think I'll wait until, you know, the year after next repotting season. Just because, you know, they didn't. I mean, on a healthy oak, you get actual extension. You get actual extensions, and not just a whirl of leaves at the tip of a shoot in one period of growth. You actually get a bunch of leaves, and then it stops growing, and then it starts growing again later this summer. You can get a bunch of extensions and leaves. So that's not what's happening here. So I could just, up here, a lot less repotting I have to do, which is fine. If it's for the health of the tree, I will avoid repotting. But, you know, at some point, I'd have to do some corrective root work and just make sure that it's growing. It's not, you know, like getting uneven. But here I have all my pines and conifers, other conifers. So yeah, we'll start with the gray pines. These Pinus sabiniana. I didn't quite repot them. I just kind of lightly pruned them. The cut points of the needles are kind of browning. I mean, they're bleeding a little bit, or something, I don't know. Yeah, they're kind of bleeding, but, you know, when I was stripping off these needles, they smell like honey. Or, I think, no, they smell like lemons. That's what they smell like. So I was just removing all the old yellow, orange needles from 2023. So all you see here is 2024's growth. So they're kind of weak. They're weak pine seedlings. But here I have what is this? Ponderosa pine. Could be Jeffrey pine with a willow herb next to it. This is very weak, and it may not survive because of how much roots it came off when I was transplanting it. But I have backups right here, and they look very healthy, and I will do a lot less severe root pruning to these than the last one, because I want native ponderosa pine as bonsai. They have huge needles, But they miniaturize, and they're so inspirational. And here I have a pot full of Epipacus helleborine in the Orchidaceae family of, you name it. So these grow as weeds because they are weeds. They're not native. But, they're not very harmless. I mean, they're harmless. They don't really take over everything. They don't form just complete monocultures, which is nice. And they don't have a very high germination rate, which is also very nice. And I also have more hemlock, which is fine. It's not getting out of control like it does in the creek, because I'm always removing seedlings. But here's the catnip. It's growing again. Yeah. And here, there's just a plum forest. It's looking that looks very good. Here's the pincushion seedling, and I'll show you that later on. Here's the tundra. Might have already shown you that, but yes. Yeah. And yeah, they're looking very nice. So onward to the conifers. So here is a Don Redwood, and the growth is kind of flat. So I'm trying to get branches growing in that direction, instead of just like that. So it doesn't look so flat. I pinched the tips because it is very healthy. It's definitely recovered from repotting. It's growing roots, and yeah. So I think it was safe to pinch tips. Yeah. I'm debating on keeping this. I'm debating whether I should keep it. Now there's the Monterey pine that survived is slowly recovering. I'm not gonna repot it until it actually starts growing into this pot and fitting. Until it outgrows this pot, I will not repot this. I will let it grow with long extensions until this seedling triples in size. Here are the oaks. There's a pomegranate right here too. It's a bit, well, the soil's quite moist, so that's pretty nice. If there's a root sticking out of it, that's good. But these oaks are kind of weak. Yeah, so I'm not going to repot these anymore unless they recover. Hopefully they do. I thought I would prune this fairly, but I guess I did not. I don't know if I don't think there was much roots on this one in the first place, but I don't want an evergreen cotoneaster because they're evergreen and there's just too many of them. But it's doing the same thing as the poplars. If only it was deciduous. I didn't show you the willows. There's the red willow and the Pacific willow. They're both native. There's an ash that I collected from the creek. There's a weeping willow here. And I'll just let it grow. I have finally 2 branches that are very healthy. They're not gonna cancel one of them out. So I finally am starting my first branch, and that's really exciting. So this is also a Pacific willow. You notice the leaves are very small. Still kind of weak, but it has recovered. It's growing roots. They're growing around and around. In the pot, it's just, we're testing the van for the trip tomorrow. We'll return on the 22nd. I also want to show you this willow at the base of the alder is seeding. There's seeds everywhere. Yeah, the growing tip is so tender. You can see how flimsy it is, but it's flowering. It's really nice. Oh, the clutch. It doesn't smell good. Oh, horrible. But anyway, here is a pot full of valley oak seedlings from this tree above us. But I also have some of the acorns from Yosemite here. Now I hope they sprout. I do hope they do. They were under the soil and some of them went bad, so I put them at the surface to see if that helped any at all. I don't know if it will, but it doesn't look like a sprout from this acorn. They haven't sprouted yet, and they probably won't. But I'll keep trying because I want a native black oak, California black oak seedling. I will not give up. Here's the larch. They've grown a little bit of roots, the American larch, but the American larch is a bit slow. There is a bud. It's a very strong bud. There are lots of buds along the new growth, so there's a chance, and I think that will survive. I'll probably not repot this one, but this one might survive. I don't see. Oh no, actually, it's gonna stop growing soon. Because I see the bud. There's a bud. It already formed. But this one, oh yeah, it's just gonna grow a little bit, but that's fine. They put on more than one flush of growth in a year, so I'll probably see it growing again before I bring it down there. But I'll make sure that goes dormant before December. And here's a buckeye in the maple family. That one's just that's the one I'm planning on getting rid of because it's just so weak. There's no future ahead of it. It's already getting fall colors, and it probably would come off quite easily. That's the Anacardius. Oh, look at this sugar maple, and this is the most healthy deciduous cotoneaster seedling I have. The box elder maples are just hanging by a thread, and these are the ones I'll get rid of and replace with seedlings or cuttings, or I'll collect some seeds off the one I showed you earlier in the past few videos, and I'll replace these ones with those seedlings and cuttings. And here's the native big leaf maple. Very small leaves, because it hasn't really recovered from repotting, so I won't repot it next year, and I'll make sure that I listen to that, my words, because I have repotted some of these that I told myself I was not going to repot, and I have paid the consequences. They're both recovering, and on this one, there was a branch that was growing that way on this branch here, and I cut it off, but now because of that I'm getting a bunch of back buds, so I finally got some outward growing shoots. And on this one it's looking very nice and full. I won't prune it until maybe late September, but it looks really nice, and I probably won't repot it until it grows a little bit better. It's still not really nice. I repotted it. I didn't repot this at all. Well, I slip potted it recently, but I didn't root prune it. Yeah. So I'll probably do a very mild root pruning it on next year. Here's the basil from the nursery, and here's Chinese pistache. Getting another flush of growth because I pruned these very long shoots, because I wanted to let the other shoots grow. There's a bunch of willow herb growing in here. Here's the golden rain trees. Yeah, looking really nice. I prune the leaves shorter because they shade out each other. There's apple shoots everywhere. There's that from the nursery that was just a weed. And about the bottle trees, they're getting mauled by snails. But the raspberry seedlings are looking really nice. They're popping up all over the place. And use the elm root that started sprouting leaves. There's this. That looks like lemon balm, I think. And then there's these eventually flower in August, so eventually I'll stop watering it from the top and I'll only water it by this tray. And there's a spider. I don't know if it's dead or not, but it doesn't look okay. Here's a currant. It smells really nice when you sniff it, but it doesn't really taste as good, which is unfortunate. And then I collected this recently. This was growing in a wet area over there by the others. So I transplanted it into a just completely kind of broken down rock from a path. And it's looking okay. I mean, it did drop a few leaves, but other than that, I think this soil is pretty nice for it. Besides, it's summer. I don't think it's gonna have any issues. It's a succulent. You know, it's quite firm. I didn't do much root pruning to it. But yeah. I water this every like few days. And yeah, I think it's gonna make it. There's the sequoias. I didn't repot those, but they're looking really nice. There's a bunch of willow herb. Ice plant. I hate this plant, but you know, guilty pleasure. I don't let it seed. I don't let it flower. And I don't let it spread. And I probably should get rid of these and just focus on that one, because I'm eventually gonna dig that one up. Oh, here, these are just all my succulents, because this is a sunny area. The little haworthias are flowering. They're all flowering, and almost all of them are flowering, which is nice. And, you know, the native soaproot, which is related to this, has almost exact same flowers. There's this crassula. The cactus is doing really well, and the tender growth on the top is quite soft. It's not spiky yet. The branch is doing pretty well. There's more different kind of haworthia. I've been finding raspberry seedlings everywhere. There's a raspberry seedling in there. I don't know how it got there, but you know, it's probably from Yosemite. And here's another snapdragon flower seedling. And there's the honeysuckle's coming back. Here's the myrtus. I should probably put this in a more easier to maintain area if I want to keep it, because it's not sold in Oregon. They don't sell it. So when I go up there and move there, I don't want to completely miss out on this. I don't know if I would have, you know, I don't know where my subscribers would be, if I have any in Australia or Tasmania, but that's where this is native. I'll have to start over again on the Kosai oaks, because they're just too weak. This is also, there's nothing going for them, these ones, so I'll have to collect a few new ones, and just not repot them for a few years, letting them grow very, very strong. And they're jades. Style these like baobabs, because that's what a lot of people do with them, and that's what they look good as when they're styled in bonsai. I might have shown you this, might have not. I have planted a bunch of, you know, other legume seedlings, and they haven't sprouted yet. Here, there's a pot of what I think are daffodils. I'm not sure. I'm gonna guess they are daffodils because they don't have the right leaf arrangement for iris. But they're nice. You could also, I don't know. I don't want to do a taste test because... And then here, there is a Echeveria. It got sunburnt because this was inside. But I kind of just went into shock. Oh, there's a seedling. I'm curious about what that is going to be. So I'll just put this here. And, I don't know. Yeah, I'll put it there. And now moving on, I brought this out from beside the house, and it was bone dry. Here's pincushion flower that I let it grow, and I didn't know what it was until I went on a walk and found one of these flowering, and then I searched it up, and it had the same leaves. It had the same exact morphology, and so yeah, it looks like a pincushion flower before it's blooming. So this will be flowering when I return. And here's some kind of poppy seed, and the snails keep crawling all over this. That's why it's so shiny. It's just they never eat it. They just crawl on it, and therefore it just gets heavy, and they broke it. But the seed looks fine. It's maturing. And here, there's also willow herb. There's a new capsule just dehiscing every single day, releasing seeds, native wildflowers. Yeah, and here, there's more pincushion flowers, and there's whatever this is. It's growing all over the place. There's spirea. It's also native. It grows further up in the mountains. Which is a really nice pot. And then there's a Pacific willow here. And this is the one that kept its leaves until like late March. And it started growing in, late May. I mean April. Late April. Very late. And it already produced a branch right here. So yeah, so this will probably grow like a meter. But probably less than that, because it's in this smaller pot than it was here. But that's fine. If this becomes a good bonsai someday, then that'll be nice. I left a lot of roots on here because I wanted it to grow a ton. And here's the pot of weeds. But there's also just a few natives. There's this plantain here, Plantagenaceae. But then there's a bunch of like DYCs, like damn yellow composites, like Lactusa and the thistles, which are invasive. But the majority of this is invasive. And then there's this. This looks like some kind of sunflower relative. But we'll see what the flowers look like. There's another snapdragon. There's pincushion flowers here. And there's this. I don't know what it is, but it's really cool. I have memorized it before, but I just forgot. Somewhere in the back of my head. But yeah, there's a forget-me-not. There's some willow herb, there's geraniums. But, I gotta start packing. And, yeah. So, that is all for today. Thanks for joining me here among the watch poplars. Which I'll be among more tomorrow.